Hi, it's James from Replica Reviews, and today we're going to be doing a review on the new Swiss Arms SA941. Now, I say new in a little bit of a loose term there. This essentially, for anybody that's familiar with Cybergun and their products, is essentially just a rebranded Cybergun Jericho, which is often referred to as the Mini Desert Eagle. I'm sure from the picture here you can see why that might be the case. Now, what you find at the moment is a lot of the companies that were trading under Cybergun have all now started coming out as Swiss Arms. So the guns are essentially copies. So if you already own the Cybergun Jericho, chances are you won't be seeing any differences between the two guns. Now, as you can see, it comes in this really nice box, much as what you'd expect with any Cybergun or Swiss Arms product. It's got all the information that you need to know on the front, really. It's a 177 caliber or 4.5mm BB firing pistol. Uses a single 12-gram CO2 cartridge. It claims to use the BAX system. It's essentially, for anybody that's familiar with airsoft, it's very similar to hop up. Just puts a bit of spin on the pellet, just keeps it flying a little bit straighter for a little bit longer. It's got a claimed weight of 900 grams. I'd say that's pretty accurate. Most of the weight there is going to be in the magazine, but I'll go on to show you that in a minute. So we'll open it up, just show you what's inside. Now, as you can see, you get the standard, really, Swiss Arms user manual. Just shows you all the basics, really, how to take the magazine out, how to load the CO2 cartridge, and then tighten it up, etc. And on the back, just a quick one about how to operate the safety catch, and also just how to load BBs into the magazine. Now, if we move that away, you do get the standard things that you'd imagine from any Swiss Arms product, really. You get the pack of BBs. The more eagle-eyed of you will notice that the BBs still come in a Cybergun licensed box. Now, these steel BBs they look pretty good quality. They look fairly safe to use. I tend not to use them just out of principle. I'm not really sure why. Maybe I should start, but it's always helpful to have some spares in the box for if you ever run out or you find yourself a bit stuck. You also get a little bag here which has got a speed loader inside. For anybody that's watched our H&K USP review, you'll be able to see the speed loader there. It's really simple. If I can get it out without making too much mess, I shall show you. It's just a little plastic clip here, it can fit on your belt, and you just place this over the top of the magazine, pour your BBs in, and this little useful plastic nubbing down by my fingers here holds the spring down, so you don't have to constantly bring down the magazine follower at all. It's quite useful to use. I tend not to use it because the Cybergun springs are fairly easy to use. Also included in the little bag that you can probably hear rustling away is just the Allen key here. Now, for anybody that uses CO2 pistols that operate with a little tightening tool, you've probably got a small stockpile of these storing up. They come with virtually every single CO2 gun that I know of that uses a tightening method. So what we'll do now is we'll quickly cut the video. We'll get the Jericho, the 941 should I say, we'll get the 941 out and we'll just have a quick close-up look. Okay, so here we are with a bit of a close-up of the Swiss Arms 941. As I said in the first part of this video, this really is just a copy of the Cybergun Jericho. As you can see, it follows and it copies a lot of features, so if you're familiar with that gun, this is very much one and the same. Now, I've got to admit, it's quite a basic gun. There's not really features coming out of his ears or anything, but it is very comfortable and it's good fun to shoot. We've got a Cybergun Sp 2022, sorry. It's virtually identical to this in everything but shape, and it's just so much fun to shoot. You can load it up and you can keep going all day long. Now, one thing that we did notice that was the first immediate difference was, unlike the Cybergun Jericho, this actually comes with a rail on the front. The idea of that being, as I'm sure you just saw on the packaging, is that you can mount lasers, flashlights, or even a combo of the both. As you can see in the bottom there's two screws. Now, it really is easy to take the rail off. Once you take the rail off, it's got a really nice smooth finish to the bottom of the receiver. I personally think it looks really smart. If it was my own personal gun, this rail will be coming off. I don't really feel the need as such to have a laser sight or a torch on a gun of this caliber. Now, as far as construction goes, it's pretty standard, really. The frame here is all plastic. The slide feels metal. It's all very solid, regardless of it being made out of plastic. As you can see, you've got the Swiss Arms logos on the side of the barrel here, and then also just a bit of information telling you what caliber it is, and that it uses BBs opposed to pellets. Now, the Swiss Arms 941 features a really nice dropout magazine that you can access really easily just by pressing the magazine release catch in, and then it just comes out like so. As you can see, it's a full-size dropout metal magazine, and it's very, very similar to that of the one used on the Cybergun Sp 2022 as well. I personally feel that most of the weight for this magazine, for the gun, sorry, is actually in the magazine. It's incredibly solid. Now, what you will find when you're holding the gun is with the magazine out, it feels very, very front heavy, but as soon as you get the magazine back in, it feels perfectly balanced, and it's a really good gun to hold. The only thing that kind of puts me off with this at the moment is the plastic grips. Now, I'm used to plastic grips on air guns. It's nothing new, it's nothing too out of the ordinary. These ones unfortunately don't fill me with too much confidence. Whilst I don't think they're going to fail or anything like that unless you drop it or really sort of abuse the gun, it just doesn't feel as solid as some of the other replicas on the market when you're holding it. If you can overlook that and just take it for what it is, just a cheap, simple, plinking pistol, then I mean this really is a fine little gun. As I said, there's no creaks, there's no movement, anything like that. It's personal preference. I'm sure if you were really switched on with how these guns operate, you could take them off and put your own grips on. But to be completely honest, I'm not really sure why you'd want to do that. The slide is fixed and does not move in the slightest, and the slide release catch is just a mock plastic catch here. It's nice that they've included these features even though the slide doesn't actually function, because this adds to the authenticity of the gun. One thing I did really like about the 941, sorry, is the fact that it's got a ambidextrous safety catch, and it's a really, really smooth one as well. As you can see, you've got a red dot here for when it's on fire, and then cover it over like so, and it's on safety. I really like it because, as I said, it's ambidextrous, so for a shooter such as myself, it's really easy just to swap over, and it makes it a really nice pistol to shoot. Now, this gun unfortunately is a double action only trigger, which basically means that every time I pull the trigger, you're loading another round in, and as you can see, it's cocking the hammer back like so, and firing. Now, I have to admit, I don't know if it's just because it's a brand new gun or what's going on there, but the trigger is incredibly solid. You can't just accidentally knock it and the thing go off. You really have to work to get the trigger moving. A good thing, I suppose, it almost acts as a double safety if you look at it from that kind of perspective, but if anything, it just makes shooting a little bit more kind of, you have to think through your shots. You can't just keep pulling the trigger back and hope that it'll all sit on the target. Because obviously with a heavy trigger, the more you pull the trigger, the more the gun will move around, and it won't be as accurate as firing in single action. Now, flipping the gun over, you can see that it just has some really basic markings on the side. Again, you've just got a basic KWC logo here, just telling you pretty much what everybody suspected, that this is made in exactly the same place as any other Cybergun or Swiss Arms gun. One thing I really, really like is the kind of polished effect ejection port cover. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually polished. To me, it just feels like a sticker, but it's a nice finish, and it kind of breaks the slide up a little bit. I kind of feel that with the black there, all going down the sides, that little ejection port just kind of adds a bit of character to the gun, and it's something I really like. Also, as I'm sure you can just see in the corner there, the sights feature two little white dots. It just makes acquiring your target and acquiring the sights an awful lot easier. And it's something that, not all air guns have these days. So what I'll do is I'll quickly pause again, and I'm going to get two other guns just to compare it to, and show you basically what it looks like and what it's claimed to be like, and then also just a leading competitor and another option if you're into the market for a cheap budget plinking pistol. Now, as you can see here, I've just quickly brought in the closest gun that I really have to the 941, and that is my Cybergun Sp 2022. Now, this was possibly the first airgun I ever bought, so you have to forgive the condition. As I'm sure you can see on the magazine, the amount of scrapes and things on the side of the magazine, this is one very used pistol. It's one of those guns that, even though it's basic, even though it's coming on to about 5 years old now, it's still really, really enjoyable to shoot. Now, unlike the 941,
the SP 2022, for me personally, doesn't really have the same kind of quality. The sights, for example, literally are just two iron sights. There's no kind of painted detail on there. For me, kind of just takes away a little bit. But the safety catch is really nice to use. It's really simple, but unfortunately it's only on the one side. Again, that's a bit of a plus point to the 941, as it's fully ambidextrous. Now, as you can see, the magazines are fairly similar as well. I personally feel this magazine is an awful lot shorter, but again, it weighs an absolute ton. As I said with the 941, with the magazine out, this gun really does sit forward. It's not until you put the magazine back in that it kind of balances things out a little bit. So what we're going to do is quickly move that one out of the way, like so, and hopefully bring in something a little bit different. Now, as I'm sure most of you can see here, this is the Magnum Research Desert Eagle. Now, the Jericho is often compared to be or said to be, should I say, the mini Desert Eagle. Now, as you can see, it does share an awful lot of its features, unsurprisingly, seeing as it was designed by the same people. So if I move this around and get it in a similar position, you should just be able to see quite how similar these guns are, in appearance anyway. Now, the one on the right is the Umarex Desert Eagle. It's possibly one of the largest, most over-the-top air guns I own, but it's so much fun. It's blowback pellet shooter, quite strong blowback, incredibly loud. You will get heads to turn when you're at the range. We fired it the other week, and yeah, everybody stopped and had a look, and a few people even asked if they can have a go. But as you can see, the trigger guard is incredibly similar. The shape of the grip as well is very similar, and just the general frame sort of design. If the Desert Eagle used a standard split slide going all the way back opposed to the half and half approach, as you can see here, then I dare say they'd look even more similar. But, you know, I can see the resemblance. I know which one I'd rather be shooting, but, you know, that's not really the point. So what we'll do is just quickly move the Desert Eagle out. I'll get a nice close-up of this 941 again for you, and we'll just summarise the review. Okay, so that's pretty much everything I can think of saying really for the Swiss Arms 941. As I said throughout the review really, if you're familiar with the Cybergun Jericho pistol, then this is really going to be no surprise to you that this gun is identical. Purposes, I'm not really sure you'd want to use this too much for target practice as such. This is more of a kind of back garden plinking gun. It uses just generic 177 BBs. They're really easy to get hold of, really inexpensive, and also the 12-gram CO2 cartridge is also incredibly inexpensive. And what I've just realised I haven't shown you is that the CO2 cartridge just fits in the bottom there. Use the supplied Allen key just to tighten it up and get it pressurised. But anyway, sorry, back to the summary. Would I buy this pistol? Personally, from my point of view, it's not really suited to what I would want. You know, I'm into my either realistic shooters or incredibly accurate guns. You know, it's either one or the other for me, personally. But if you're just after something that you can just sit and smash cans down off your fence, or, well, hopefully not off your fence, but, you know, just in your back garden, just have a bit of fun, hit a target around without causing too much damage, then this is definitely the gun to go for. The ability to put lasers and flashlights on the front as well is also quite good for anybody that just wants to add a little bit of customization to their gun. Not everybody wants a straight out the box gun, and you know, the laser and the flashlight combos, they do just add to the look a little bit, makes it look a little bit meaner if that's your cup of tea. Now, it's really inexpensive, this gun. I think these retail for about £75–80. I'm sure you can get it even cheaper than that from asking. Now, what we'll do is we'll put some more close-up pictures over on our Facebook page. If you want to check that out, feel free to use the link. But if you've got any questions, feel free to post them below as well, and I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. Just finish off by saying thank you for the kind of warm reception that we've got. This is possibly one of the first reviews that we've put up since we've come back. I think we've done the Umarex Colt Python and a couple more, including the Desert Eagle that you've just seen. But it's been really good that after a bit of time back, we've come back and we've been met with quite a warm reception. The Facebook page is growing, the subscriber link sort of size is growing, and it's just really nice to have, you know, a nice independent review on your screen again. So thank you again for watching. we'll hopefully get loads of new products coming your way. We've got a bit of a partnership going on, and it's really working out quite well for us. We're able to bring you all the latest guns on the market. Hopefully we're going to have the ASG P09 by the weekend. Hopefully, as this has even just gone live, we'll be filming the review for it, so watch the screens for the review of that. I'm really looking forward to getting hold of it. But until then, thank you for watching another Replica Reviews video.